you revisit the facts of the SNC-Lavalin scandal, it is so apparent that Justin Trudeau broke the law and absolutely would have been prosecuted had he not been who he is. It's unbelievable. The number of witnesses, 15 witnesses claiming that Trudeau leaned on Jody Wilson-Raybould explicitly, yet the RCMP only spoke to 4 of those 15 people. 4 of 15 witnesses who they knew they had, and they never even spoke with Trudeau. When you rewatch Jody Wilson-Raybould's testimony, it is apparent as hell. Trudeau was leaning on her and leaning on her heart. She gave indication after indication that it was inappropriate for Trudeau to be attempting to direct her prosecution of SNC-Lavalin, that it was not appropriate. Yet Trudeau, time after time after time, whether through himself or through a proxy, made it explicitly clear that if she did not shut the investigation down, and rather than shutting the investigation down and just fining SNC-Lavalin, her job potentially would be at risk, as well as her future in Canada. There were threats against Wilson-Raybould. It was clear intimidation and a conflict of interest and a violation and dereliction of Trudeau's duties as Prime Minister. Now, the mainstream media is having an absolute conniption over the fact that Pierre Poilievre on the Northern Perspective podcast has come out and said that Trudeau should have been prosecuted. And you know they're hitting him in a weak point. You're hitting him in a weak point when they're losing their minds over something. They're talking about how this is U.S.-style politics, and it is disgusting that Poilievre is bringing up something that's old news. Well, newsflash, Trudeau broke the law time and time again during his time as Prime Minister. In addition to SNC-Lavalin, whether we're talking We Charity scandal, the Green Slush Fund, Arrive Can app, Grey Point Academy. There were so many scandals that Trudeau had Trudeau not been Prime Minister and just a regular everyday citizen, there is not a shred of doubt in my or any thinking person's mind that he would have been prosecuted. But because he was Trudeau, because he's a Liberal, because they're in bed with the RCMP, they don't get prosecuted. There's absolutely nothing U.S. style. If there's anything U.S. style, it's the fact that the Liberal Party of Canada is so in bed with the RCMP that their senior officials can time after time after time literally steal from the Canadian taxpayer without paying any consequences. Chrystia Freeland sends $1 billion to China to build 4 ferries. There are now emails coming out about how she lied to the public about how the process worked and how she knew about it. She leaves cabinet. She's not going to face any consequences for that. Stephen Guilbeault was up to $254 million to companies he was invested in through the Green Slush Fund. He's not going to be investigated for that. Mark Miller made money hand over fist through immigration. Sean Fraser, the list goes on and on and on of corrupt Liberals who have not been prosecuted. If there's anything U.S. style about our politics, it's the fact that these elite Liberal politicians never have to pay up. And do yourself a favor, go take a quick browse through the evidence of the SNC-Lavalin scandal. The fact that Trudeau was never prosecuted is a total sham. If Trudeau was not who he is, Prime Minister of Canada, it is undeniable that he would have been prosecuted for interference. There is no other way to define what he did with Wilson-Raybould. He explicitly got involved in order to protect SNC-Lavalin. He told Raybould time and time and time again not to prosecute them. Again, this is clearly illegal in his role as Prime Minister. And Wilson-Raybould made it incredibly explicit to the RCMP. She told the RCMP they had 11 key witnesses, the RCMP, who were ready to testify on Trudeau's continued pressure, and they refused. The RCMP refused to even speak to him. The idea that the RCMP chief, laughing it up besides Mark Carney last week, would come out and say, we looked down every avenue possible is an absolute joke and could not be further from the truth. The only thing that the RCMP was looking to do was to cover up any wrongdoing from Trudeau. That's all the RCMP was looking to do. They were not looking to do an unbiased investigation into what went on with SNC-Lavalin. It's the exact opposite when you look in the case. It is a textbook cover-up. And the fact that Trudeau can ruin this country for a decade, our economy is in tatters, our culture has been absolutely destroyed, and now go spend his days on a yacht and at film festivals with Katy Perry makes you want to throw up. The sick society that we let, the absolutely sick society that we, I guess two malignant narcissist psychopaths like Trudeau and Perry kind of make sense for one another, and I'm sure they're absolutely miserable together. But my God, the SNC-Lavalin scandal, I really hope we get some sort of a real investigation, because it is just blatantly obvious Trudeau broke the law. I mean, by the letter of the law, if he was anybody but who he was, he would have been prosecuted. And Poilievre has every right to go out and say what an absolute disgrace it is. Please like, share, subscribe, join, become a member, donate, grab some gear. I really appreciate everybody's support. And we let's keep making noise. Hopefully this pansy can actually get prosecuted for all the crimes he committed as our prime minister.